Right, hello people. This is a bit of a new one. We've got Zuffa Boxing's first event on Friday, and I thought I'd do a little prediction here. It's Carlos Ocampo versus Callum Walsh, or well, the size Callum Walsh, so it's Callum Walsh versus Carlos Ocampo. Now, as a headliner, this isn't too great of a fight. It's not a super fight or anything. It's decent. It will show us a little bit about Callum Walsh if we compare him to some former Carlos Ocampo opponents, which I will do right here. But yeah, the thumbnail was a bit of a nightmare to put together for this one. There isn't kind of any sort of poster or like thumbnail where I can just kind of slap the prediction thing over it. I kind of had to get a little bit creative and grabbed the image you saw from the UFC website. But yes, this is Zuffa Boxing's first event. I guess their somewhat highly anticipated first event. Maybe not so anticipated as it is more intriguing, whatever a word is that would kind of describe intriguing to a mass amount of people. People just kind of want to see how this is going to work, right? And I'm one of those people more for competition in boxing. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Getting into the actual fight itself, we've got Callum Walsh, who is a 24-year-old Irishman fighting out the super welterweight division. 5'9", 71-inch reach, versus Carlos Ocampo, who is 30 years old, super welterweight, bit of a veteran now, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, and yeah, man, let's get into it. Callum Walsh coming off a win against Fernando Vargas Jr. in what was a dominant but definitely didn't light the world on fire kind of performance, right? He boxed well, kept his range well. Fernando Vargas couldn't close the distance. Callum Walsh didn't really step on the gas and try and get him out of there. It was that kind of fight. Other than that, there isn't too much to write home about on his record. And the same kind of goes for Carlos Ocampo. But if you want to talk about anything, you do talk about his losses. In terms of the wins, there's really nothing here. He's fought most of his career in obscurity in the middle of Mexico against underwhelming opponents. His first loss came at the hands of Errol Spence. Of course, Errol Spence being a former unified welterweight world champion. He was 23-0 at the time he fought Ocampo, and he got finished in the first round. I do believe he hurt Spence in that fight. But of course, getting knocked out in the first round doesn't indicate that he did particularly well, which he didn't. And his second loss came at the hands of Sebastian Fundora by unanimous decision. This is the only sort of loss you could say aged somewhat well, and yet Fundora won majority of the rounds. By aged well, I mean the fact he went to unanimous decision with Fundora is impressive. It's not that the other two didn't age well; it's that he got beat in such a way in which it doesn't age well for him. It reflects well on him that now Sebastian Fundora is possibly the best super welterweight in the world. The other two, he got blown out in a round, so what does it really matter what they went on to do, right? It indicates that he's not very good. But yeah. And his third loss came at the hands of Tim Tszyu by KO in the first round. So he's got 2 first-round KO losses, 1 unanimous decision loss, all 2 welterweight champions, or super welterweight champions, and 1 welterweight champion. And yeah, man. Coming out of Mexico, you'd expect Carlos Ocampo to be a bit of a front-footed pressure fighter. From what I've seen, and I've only seen his 3 fights where his 3 fights against Spence, Tszyu, and Fundora. Haven't seen his fights in obscurity in Mexico. I kind of look at over them at BoxRec, and I look at the opponents' records, and I think there's no real point in watching that. Those aren't going to really tell me much. The losses are probably going to tell me more than the wins in this case, because they are actually against very good opposition. Yeah, you'd expect him to be a bit of a front forward pressure fighter, which is kind of the typical Mexican MO. He's not really that at all. Being 5'10" with a 73-inch reach, being just a little bit above the average super welterweight frame. He does like to box behind his jab, keep his range. Against Callum Walsh, I don't think this will go too well for him. Callum Walsh is a long-rangey guy himself. Yes, his reach and or height is smaller than Ocampo's, but I do believe skill set wise and attributes wise, he does have pretty much every advantage in this fight, except for maybe body punching. He's got the better shot selection, got the quicker hands, and he's got the better know-how, and he's better at keeping you off of him than Ocampo is, which was shown in his last fight against Fernando Vargas Jr. when Jr. couldn't close the distance whatsoever. So I'm predicting the Callum will win inside the first few rounds. Probably by keeping his range, keeping it a long fight, which Ocampo will allow him to do, and Ocampo not being able to box with him at range, and Callum simply beating him to the punch because he does have quite good hand speed, and getting him out of there. Yeah, so that's my prediction. I'll go over that again. I think it's going to be fought at range because that's what both men like to do, and I think Callum is simply going to be the quicker of the two men, and he'll get him out of there. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.